Detroit has one of the highest tax rates in the whole state of Michigan. But does that make them crazy? There's a local real estate agent in my market that made a video about the best and worst places to live in Michigan based on property taxes. And the only mention that he made of the city of Detroit was that Detroit taxes are crazy. Is that true? I wanted to break down the facts and how the taxes in the city of Detroit compare to other municipalities in the state so you can decide for yourself. My name is Jan Dijkers. I am a broker and real estate veteran. I've been selling real estate in Detroit for the last 20 years, and I do about 85% of my business in the city of Detroit. I also claim to be a property tax nerd because I am obsessed with property taxes. And I do everything I can to educate the public on property taxes. So let's talk about how property taxes in Michigan are calculated. Every municipality has what's called a millage rate. It is a number that, multiplied by the value of your property, determines the property taxes that you will pay each year. The lower the millage rate, the lower the taxes, compared to a house of the same value with a higher millage rate. So living in a different school district in the same city can have a variation of taxes. The municipality determines the millage rate on any given year by looking at how much taxes it needs to collect to run the city or municipality. Some cities will increase their millage rate over a temporary instead of a permanent period of time, let's say a year or two, to collect extra money to go towards some improvement like roads or sewers or sidewalks or something to that effect. This is called a special assessment or a special tax assessment. Most municipalities have a higher millage rate for a property that is not your primary residence, meaning you can get the lowest millage rate if you occupy the property as your primary residence. Now, you only get one of those because there's only one you. All of the other properties that are not your primary residence are called non-homestead. These can be second homes, investment properties, vacant land, vacant homes, or properties occupied by businesses such as office buildings, retail spaces, etc. These structures and pieces of land and properties pay a higher millage rate because they pay the school tax. These millage rates for non-homestead can be up to 18 mills higher than the non-homestead from what I've seen, just looking at the whole state of Michigan. Millage rates in Michigan range from, on the low end, Bainbridge Township coming in at 17.5832 with the Eau Claire Public School District. Bainbridge Township is near Benton Harbor, which is right over here, kind of near the southeast corner of the state on the Indiana border. And coming in at the highest, the city of Equalize at 75.1563 in the Equalize Public School District. This is a suburb of Detroit, downriver, just north of Wyandotte, and just south of Detroit. So a $200,000 property value in both of these locations would break down as follows. So in order to calculate the state equalized value, you have to take the $200,000 and take half of that to get the state equalized value. That's what you apply towards the millage rate. So we're going to take $100,000 in Bainbridge Township, multiplied by the millage rate, divide by 1,000. That's a $1,758 tax bill. Compare that to Equalize, where we take that same $100,000 state equalized value, multiply by that millage rate, divide by 1,000, and you get $7,515. Quite a difference. Now, possible explanations for such a disparity. Bainbridge Township is a small town. It has a smaller government, I'm quite sure. It's only a town of 2,000 people-ish. It probably has a lot of dirt roads, so there's not a lot of road maintenance, and obviously the larger roads are either maintained by the state and the county. So the municipality is not paying for those things. I looked through the properties that have sold, and it's a very rural area, so no city water, no city sewer, nothing, none of that infrastructure to maintain. So that explains how this town can have one of the lowest tax collections in the whole state, doesn't have a lot of expenses. Versus Equalize, much older city that has used to be a lot bigger, has lost population, so the footprint of the city is still the same, even though there are fewer people living in it. And so in order to be able to collect enough taxes to survive, it has to increase the millage rate compared to the amount of property values to pay for this rusting infrastructure. The city of Detroit is in a similar place as far as infrastructure, which is aging, and population, which has shrunk since its heyday in the 1950s of almost 2 million people. Now we're sub 700,000 people in a city that is pretty much the same size and has the same number of sewers to maintain and everything like that. But it has a dense central business district and other major institutions that help contribute to the property tax base. The City of Detroit Homestead millage rate for 2024 is 67.2737, making it one of the highest millage rates in the state of Michigan. Because the city is paying off some of its municipal bonds next year, the mayor, Mike Duggan, announced during his State of the City in 2025 that he submitted the 2026 budget to City Council for approval, which included a reduction of the millage rate because of these bonds being paid off, meaning we don't have as much debt to pay off, meaning that we don't have as much of a city budget that we need to collect taxes for, that we would be able to lower the millage rate by 3 mills, making the millage rate closer to 64. Still higher than most of the state of Michigan, but moving in the right direction. The city does have one special feature, and that is the NEZ Homestead tax abatement, which I detail in a previous video as far as what it is, how you can qualify for it, and how you apply for it. This lowers the Detroit millage rate to about 56 if you occupy your home as your primary residence, and if you live in one of the qualifying areas of the map, the NEZ Homestead districts. These are usually areas of the city where properties are more expensive, higher property values, larger homes, more expensive to maintain, and tend to be located in areas with the highest tax assessments. So now that the NEZ Homestead allows property owners to have a 56 millage rate, this puts us in good company. Dearborn, the Grosse Pointes, Wyandotte, Hazel Park, Lathrop Village, Oak Park, Southfield, Roseville, and Warren all have millage rates in the 50s. The areas with the lowest property values in Metro Detroit tend to be in the older cities and tend to have the highest millage rates and the lowest property values. So if you want to live in an area with a lower millage rate that isn't a rural area, you're probably going to live in a more expensive area as far as home values, and vice versa is also true. So Detroit taxes are high, but you also get more bang for your buck in an area with some of the most beautiful architecture that you couldn't find anywhere else for the prices that you can pay in Detroit. But are the taxes crazy high? Thanks for watching. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think.